Hey man, so we're back with Kasim's Court. I know it's been a minute. Literally the last and only video I made was on the Jimmy Butler situation. And now it's playoff basketball and I'm excited to dive into the playoff matchups. This is always the most exciting time for me as like a basketball fan. You like, there's those memes of like, you don't like pay attention to the whole regular season. And now when it's the lick of the playoffs, apparently you turn into an analyst. So that's what we're doing in today's video. So yesterday for me, or I don't know when this video is going to come out, was pretty much the last day of the NBA regular season, and that's kind of what shook up the whole standings in terms of the Western Conference. The Warriors, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, and the Timberwolves were literally all at stake for fluctuation on like the standings. And I had my eyes peeled onto every single one of those games that had playoff implications. And specifically, by far, the game of the night was the Warriors and the Clippers. And honestly, I could say that game really changed my perspective on how I see the Clippers going into the postseason and the Warriors, if they even make it at all. There's that stat that the Warriors are 0-3 in play-in games, and it's not looking good for them. But I do see them coming out of the play-in. And if you're the Warriors, I don't want to see the OKC Thunder in the first round. I would much rather prefer that Rockets matchup. So they're playing the Grizzlies in the first round of the play-in. That's who you want to take care of business against, so you can secure that 7th seed and play Houston in the first round. As far as the other play-in games, the Kings and the Mavericks, the Bulls and the Heat, the Magic and the Hawks, I ain't gonna lie, those are all snoozers in my opinion. There are 3 main series in the playoffs that I am genuinely excited for. The Nuggets and the Clippers, the Lakers and the Timberwolves, the Knicks and the Pistons. I feel like those are going to be banger series that could potentially go to 6 or 7 games. And I want to start off with the Lakers and the Timberwolves. I feel like as a team that just traded for Luka Doncic, and you're doing as well as you have been, the Lakers, since picking up Luka, are now a 50-win team. And then you're going against a team who had just made the conference finals appearance, and that's the 3-6 matchup. I feel like a series where we see Luka, obviously last year we saw Luka on the Mavericks playing against the Timberwolves in the first round. I love that matchup as a first round, seeing Luka and Ant go one-on-one again. I watched Kenny Beecham's video a few days ago, and he was talking about how Rudy Gobert, through like the first few years of his playoff career, had to see James Harden. And now he has to see Luka for like his 3rd straight year. And honestly, I could say playoff Luka at this point is something that's been so exciting to watch. I think the idea of Luka and Ant is just pure box office, but the fact that you're adding the guy that we're not noticing or mentioning at all in this video, a 40-year-old LeBron James who's averaging what, 20 plus points a game, damn near fucking, I don't know. I do genuinely have the Lakers coming out of the series. If you were to ask me like after the end of the season last year, when the Timberwolves still had Karl Anthony Towns, like their main core that they made the conference finals, I would say I would have the Timberwolves just because of what I saw how they played against the Phoenix Suns, and then also took care of business against the defending champ Denver Nuggets. I was just so highly on that team coming into the 2024-25 season, but now that they traded away Cat, you have Julius Randle now. They're still, I don't know, honestly. At this point, I can't doubt LeBron James in his career. I can't doubt Luka Doncic after seeing how he bounced back, coming back from injury, you know, getting traded away from the Dallas Mavericks. And then the emergence of Austin Reeves as potentially, in my opinion, I think he is the best 3rd option in the playoffs right now. I think he has rose as a potential household name in this league, and I'm so excited to see what he's going to do in the playoffs. And I think that Laker team just as a whole has been so exciting to watch. Jackson Hayes has really came out as a big who has, you know, can be a rim protector as well as a lob threat for Luka. You know, especially with the loss of AD in that trade. So I do have the Lakers over the Timberwolves in this series. And moving on to the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons, this is a series where Cade Cunningham, if you're the Detroit Pistons, you need him to go off. And if you're the New York Knicks, if you want to come out of the first round, you need to stop Cade Cunningham. Cade is going to be the heart and soul of the Pistons team, like how he has been all regular season, but definitely in the postseason. And if you're the New York Knicks, you're looking at this series as we need somebody else to beat us other than Cade Cunningham. And that's why I feel like the Knicks can definitely come on top in this series. You have Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby that you could blitz and throw at Cade Cunningham. If that takes giving the Pistons role players to jacking up 20 plus threes because of how wide open they are, because you are focusing all of your primary attention on Cade Cunningham, that's just what it's going to have to be for the New York Knicks. But like I said, the Knicks, you have to make sure that Cade Cunningham is not a factor in this series. And I feel like with the defensive wings and pieces that they have, that's definitely doable. And looking at the New York Knicks, this is definitely a series where you're glad that you got the Detroit Pistons. And let's not get it twisted. The Pistons are definitely and unanimously the most improved team this season after going, losing 20 plus straight games last season to becoming the 6th 6th seed, I'm so happy for the Detroit Pistons and how they brought back the idea or the era of the bad boy Pistons. You got Isaiah Stewart throwing hands with everybody. I'm so happy that the Pistons are in the postseason. I think the last time, I don't think, was it Blake Griffin days? I don't, Andre Drummond. But to see Cade Cunningham finally, you know, there was a conversation of, you know, Cade and LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards before, like the Timberwolves were able to make it to the postseason, of are they going to be those stars who are going to be on the same team and not make a postseason run, or are they going to have to leave the franchise in order to thrive? And I'm so excited to see Cade, you know, make it to the postseason, and the Pistons, after especially that year that they had last season, actually make it to the postseason. I'm excited to see this. But I feel like the Knicks just have so much. Jalen Brunson obviously hasn't been himself since the injury that he's had against the Lakers a few weeks back. But I think, you know, he's been known as a playoff riser, and I feel like having the Pistons in this first round, like, he's obviously not going to be the same that he's been, but having the Pistons, you're happy that you have a little bit of a leeway where you're not playing like the Celtics or even the Bucks in the first round, that you actually have to like focus on, that you could have Jalen Brunson, you know, alleviate some of that pressure and not necessarily have to perform to the stature that we've seen him perform in the postseason. But I have the Knicks in this one. I think it'll definitely be a fun series just to see Cade Cunningham in the postseason. And like I said, if you're the Knicks, I feel like the game plan is super simple. Just make sure Cade does not go off. That's literally it. But mentioning the Bucks and the Pacers, this is a series where it's a little conflicting for me. I'm a Damian Lillard fan. I want to see Damian Lillard get over that hump, finally win a championship. And it feels like these last two seasons has been so stressful in terms of the Bucks staying healthy in the postseason. We saw the Pacers and the Bucks last year. The Pacers kind of rose to not necessarily become a household name in the Eastern Conference, but as a team that could be in the middle. Tyrese Halliburton, you know, he's had a down year this season, but last season has really emerged as a star in this league. Miles Turner is always going to be that big for the Pacers that is effective. You have Benedict Mathurin, Andrew Nembhard, Pascal Siakam. They just have a really solid basketball team. And I feel like if anything is like what we saw last year in the postseason, as long as Tyrese Halliburton is able to, you know, put up at least 15, you know, we know he's going to get his in terms of, you know, being a facilitator. As long as they're able to do that, I think the Pacers are going to be over the Bucks. And that's talking about Damian Lillard being healthy or not. And with Damian Lillard not being healthy, that's just unfortunate that the Pacers are probably going to have the edge in this series. But I'm not counting out how Giannis has played throughout the last like 10 games of the regular season. Giannis without Dame, we've seen comparisons to like, look, he's back to his 2018, 2019, 2020 days. He has just been so dominant, so effective. And I'm not completely ruling out the Bucks in this series and saying that without a healthy Damian Lillard, or even with Damian Lillard as a whole, the Pacers just have so much, because the Bucks won the season series 3-1 to the Pacers. I think I'm not counting out Giannis completely, but I do think that it is a very unlikely that the Pacers lose to the Bucks in the series. And moving on to the series that I am most excited for, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. I think the last game of the regular season between the Clippers and the Warriors kind of solidified what the ceiling could potentially be for the Clippers. We're talking about a team that they beat the Warriors, who are 23-6 or now 23-7 since adding Jimmy Butler. And if you look at that last video, I said if the Warriors add Jimmy Butler, you know, they were struggling in the beginning, or midway through the beginning of the season, or at least fighting for a spot in the postseason, but obviously fell down to the play-in. But for the Clippers to pull off that win, James Harden absolutely going off, 39 points, Kawhi Leonard going off with 33. It's just, oh man, I think the Clippers definitely have something brewing. Are they on the status of an OKC? Or in my opinion, I think the Lakers are better than what people say they are. I'm not entirely sure, but I think the Clippers are so good. And not to mention, you know, with Kawhi out the extended period of the beginning of the season, Norman Powell had stepped up, and there were conversations of him. Is he even like, he's possibly an all-star caliber player. Like, he could make the all-star team. And, you know, you have those wings that you could throw on Jamal Murray. And not to mention that this is a game where Russell Westbrook is playing his former team. And it's like, you know, we're saying that with like the Lakers or like the Wizards or whatever it is, the Thunder. But I think the Clippers have what it takes to defeat the 2 years ago defending champs in the Nuggets. It's going to be so exciting to see, though. But it's not to say that it's all completely on the Clippers just being a better overall well-oiled machine than the Nuggets, because we know Nuggets basketball, when you have Jokic, the best player in the world, you have the chance to make it to the finals regardless of who is on the roster. Not to mention you have Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, who has been, sensational this season. I think it is more so of the mindset of you had just fired your head coach. I think Ty Lue will be the determining factor in this series where, essentially Ty Lue is going to outcoach the Nuggets, and that's what's going to happen. But not to mention you have a team with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. Like that's going to help tremendously in terms of making it a deep into the postseason. And I think, yeah, there's been talks about Kawhi Leonard not necessarily is he. I guess he shut down that conversation, winning the championship with the Raptors, but being the primary sole leader of a championship team. But I think James Harden, of course, with the conversations of him not necessarily being a playoff riser, I think the pairing of James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, I think that is a recipe for the postseason. And especially, I'm not counting out, they have the best record in basketball, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 60 plus wins. That says something for itself. But I think the topic of experience and how much postseason experience you have, I think I have the Clippers over the Thunder in that sense. They'll meet in the second round, and I think the Clippers have a chance to take down the Thunder. But man, this series is going to be good. I have it going to 7 games just off the simple fact that Jokic is going to be the best player in the world. Runner-up for MVP, sadly. I think SGA is going to take that. I think this is going to be a good series and a good first round in general in terms of the playoffs. I ain't gonna lie, Adam Silver, you cooked with this one. There's been a whole talk about how we can make the regular season more entertaining and 82 games is too long and load management and all this other extra stuff. But I think that come playoff time, the NBA is where it's at its best, obviously. But that's when, the fans are going to tune in. They're going to want to see these top tier level stars compete, regardless if you have the Phoenix Suns and the Philadelphia 76ers underachieving and not making the playoffs at all. But you're still going to have the best player in the world. You're still going to have the MVP. You're still going to have a 40-year-old LeBron James. And you're going to have Damian Lillard, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I don't know if you can tell, I'm excited for the playoffs. Thank you guys for watching Kasim's Court. I really appreciate it. Good to get one of these videos down. It's been a minute, and I'm definitely going to be consistent with these videos. It was super fun to get this video out and just ramble about the NBA. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.